Hey there, I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse, and today we have from Spelling, Portrait of My Heart. When I started hearing buzz about Spelling going in a very different direction with her genre fusion this time around, dabbling in 90s alternative, even some 2000s pop rock, I could imagine a lot of folks might be shocked given the art pop ambitions on the turning wheel, but then I remembered seeing her perform at Pitchfork Festival in 2022 when it started pounding rain, and amidst all of it, she covered Come Clean Rain by Hilary Duff, and she knocked it out of the park. And given how a lot of that pop rock is prime in my nostalgia window, I was really excited about how Spelling might approach that sound, especially ending off this project with a My Bloody Valentine cover. And you know what? The album we got is definitely pretty fascinating. One obvious observation is, while The Turning Wheel worships Kate Bush, the influences across this project are much more sprawling and diverse from 90s and 2000s rock. A lot of vamping of Gwen Stefani with the rougher edges of Alanis Morissette or Hole, which Spelling can make her own still with a ton of fervor and idiosyncratic flair. I really do love her voice, and parts of this album reminds me of Janet Jackson's alternative flourishes, with a healthy dose of early to mid-90s post-grunge to boot. Hell, Drain sounds like something Soundgarden or early Audioslave could have cut before the ponderous, doomy second half. And that broader frame of reference means that this album never quite feels directly beholden to its influences. More gnarled muscle in the guitars, both electric and acoustic, as they will smolder in the mist. Although some of the more immediate riffs on Alibi, they kick ass, but never shying away from some of that poppier sheen with the lush, dramatic strings or the spacey keyboards. And that fusion can produce some really gorgeous results. The title track's careening melodrama and instantly infectious hook feels very 90s there. The R&B inflected back-to-back power ballads of Destiny Arrives and Ammunition, where I just love the guitar solos in the latter psalm, or just how well the synth-inflected gallop of Love Ray Eyes goes off. Although, if I'm gonna nitpick, perhaps a little bit too murky in spots, it's hard not to feel like certain high frequencies were just smothered out of the mix, especially across the muddy drum kit and especially the cymbals. And that's kind of odd in contrast with the oilier edges of the synth that do cut through, perhaps the most obvious in the abbreviated Satisfaction, where I kept wanting to get bowled over by those riffs or a groove and never quite had the body there. It's also where I question including the My Bloody Valentine cover of Sometimes to end the album. Not because it's a bad cover, I get what Spelling was trying to do, but because, well, I went back to the original and was reminded how to produce a brand of shoegaze like this with some degree of subtlety. It's hard to beat out a classic. And the odd, murky balance of Spelling's album feels all the more odd and idiosyncratic. It reminds me of some old issues I had with Spelling's early work. While I was impressed by her self-production, for the first time here she brought in more names who have worked from acts from SZA to Yves Tumor, as well as Toro y Moi to duet with her on the ballad Mount Analogue, and I'm kind of on the fence whether they all helped as much as they really should have, but I kept thinking that these songs could flatter her a little more, especially when you have like the cool shuffling weird groove on Waterfalls, where I really wish the hook didn't feel so buried midway back in the mix. That song should have gone off. Then there's the songwriting and lyrics, and one needs to meet the album where it is. If you're going for more direct, straightforward, borderline autobiographical pop rock, I am okay with the smaller simplification of focus and content. So naturally we're gonna get songs of relationship turbulence, alienation, a desire for love to not just satiate one's desire but purify one's darker impulses for maybe something better, but what it would mean to embrace that sort of passionate change, give of yourself that much. But if you're gonna do that, you'd hope the album would go for broke more often, and it kind of feels a half step away from the magic that Spelling previously harnessed. A step into alternative rock and pop rock, but not a full-fledged leap. And given that I think she could have preserved all those synth-heavy atmospherics and still pulled it off, instead it kind of feels like she's splitting the difference. And it leaves me a little bit conflicted with Portrait of a Heart, mostly because it feels torn in so many different directions. It wants to have that ragged alternative rock edge from the mid-90s, but also some 2000s pop sweetness, but also preserve the mystical vibes that Spelling made her own, and it kind of winds up patchy trying to strike that uneven balance. Now certainly songs are gonna go off, they're great where I can overlook the production shortcomings. Alibi, Ammunition, Destiny Arrives, Love Ray Eyes, maybe even the title track, and I'm sure they're gonna work better live, but here, yeah, just a little bit less impressed than I wanted to be. Definitely very good, it's worth a proper shot, especially if it's in your nostalgia window or you're willing to meet it where it is. Just maybe temper some of the expectations a little bit. That's all. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more, please be sure to like, share, drop comments, subscribe. I feel it's a little bit interesting talking about this album, especially in context with The Turning Wheel getting so much critical acclaim. I know that a lot of people will be hung up that this does not sound anything like it. It's a simplification. Some people will say it's playing to the mainstream. I don't buy that at all. She's on sacred bones. Come on, that's not going to change. I will say that, again, I wish the simplification was pulled off a little better. That's all. I'm willing to take this in this sound. This sound is in my nostalgia window, and I'm not as over the moon with The Turning Wheel as a lot of people are. I still think it's great. It's just not album of the year material for me. But still, like, this was kind of fascinating to dig into. Leave your comments down there below. Beyond that, though, anything else I might be able to do to improve my presentation, I'm all ears. And if y'all want to get involved in helping support the channel, get albums on my overloaded schedule, yell at me on my Discord, YouTube memberships and Patreon are available. Once again, don't feel obligated. Tough times, believe me, I understand. I look at the markets right now. Just the options available. Till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.